Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing fine. Happy Saturday. I hope your weekend goes really well. So today I was going to talk about the Odyssey makeup that Zendia did. And I was going to just show my version of how you can also do it in like minimalistic products that you can use on your face and stuff like that. Until I saw the first thing when I woke up that Sonam Wangchuk was arrested, and I don't know why it felt so personal. Like, it's not something that I'm going to go to Delhi and I'm going to go and do protest out there, but this is insane that it is happening in our country and nobody's even taking a bit of stand for this person. Because if you see that video of Jantar Mantar where the protest was happening, he is literally like, there are people who have pushed him. He's been covered with white clothes and that's how they have picked him up. Then there are police who have done lathi charges on all the students who are protesting. I mean, what is happening? Like, to be honest, what is happening in this country? Is there a way that we can just come out together and say something is wrong? This is wrong. We live in a democracy means everybody has an equal opportunity, everybody lives in equality, and everybody has a say in what is happening in our country. So why is this one person triggered his protest against something that is going to be well wished for the development of our future, like our kids' future? He doesn't even have kids. I don't think so he has kids. It is for people who have been suffered through these leaks of paper, which has been happening since I guess 2018-19. But it is so insane that it's such a major topic and nobody from the government is even addressing it. And they're addressing it by what? By coming and just disturbing the whole movement. When are we going to come together? People here follow Gandhi ji. Modi ji in his every speak talk about unity, ki we should be together, Hindutva, all of this. And this is what you do when there are people who are doing something for a greater cause and everybody is there together, and this is the youth of your own country. If I may say, if I may ask Modi ji, how many of your youth are getting work opportunities? Forget about doctors, forget about engineers. They do it on their own, because they have to study that much, they have to clear the entrance, they have to get into that particular college, they have to spend, their parents do spend, I don't know, a hefty amount of income towards growing them, towards making towards taking them effort so that they can get something, there can be some change in their lifestyle. But what about everybody else? Nobody is talking about everybody else. Right now I understand the protest is focusing on that, but it's also about every other youth who is struggling in this country. Why is nobody answering, or why is nobody questioning that? Teachers are getting payment which is not even like 15, 16, 17. What is happening in this country? If educated people are going to fall back, what are we expecting about people who are underprivileged, or people who do not even have basic rights of education? I see in every speech that Modi ji passes, he acknowledges that we are getting innovative, our nation is going to go on a global platform. Globally there's an acknowledgement for Indian, and there are a lot of podcasters, and also there are like a lot of people who do believe that we are globally being acclaimed now. But it is not true. Imagine now is the time, okay, when there was some different government who was ruling our country. That was not the right time, because people were not taking anything seriously, people were not that innovative. But now when the youth itself is taking that step ahead, that they want to do something for themselves, they want to do something for their parents, of course there is going to be an innovation. Of course there is going to be an innovation in this whole country. What are we talking about? It's not because this one leader out of nowhere has won elections, and which is, I think it is the biggest conspiracy, that so many people know this on their face, okay, and they can say it on their face that okay, there is a corrupt that is happening in my region or in somebody else's region or somebody from a lower caste. There's so much of racism, there's so much of casteism. Even while selecting the political parties, there is no particular standard of what leaders should be. There has to be some standard, there has to be some margin, that okay, this if you are educated enough, if you have done a pol science degree, and if you are educated enough in this particular area, then you can go and take that position in the country. That's when a developed mind is going to change the develop, and is going to change this nation, and the nation is going to get developed. I don't understand. My blood is boiling. I don't know. I don't even have words to explain this to people. It's as basic as that. Everybody is talking about the global platform. What about the small things in this country? What about the underprivileged people in this country? There's so many people on the streets. There's so many people without food, without shelter. These are the basic needs. What is the government doing for them? May I just know that? Forget about the educated people. Forget about people who can understand they have few rights, like say shelter, home, house, clothes to wear. Like, that's the most basic things. People have that and they can live, survive on that. What about the underprivileged? Unless and until you clear, this is the most basic concept. Okay, if I don't know, somebody from the politics might understand this or no, or even if people as simple as who I am as a person, like a housewife or like a mother, can relate to this, it would be a better change. That, don't you think so? The smallest of things in the country needs to be changed for us to reach that level where everybody in this nation can be acknowledged for the right things to do and the right things to say, which is our right. It is our birthright. It is not something that can be taken away from us. And we can't just keep on ignoring, because what happens is, I'll tell you what, it's the same thing that we have seen with our fathers. Our fathers have struggled. Post-COVID was the worst phase for every middle class family. Everyone has struggled to it. Nobody's talking about it. So many small businesses have been shut down. Nobody's talking about it. Secondly, if you go for PFs and everything that are government led, and if you go and ask for it, you have to stand in this queue for what? I want to understand. Everything that is going wrong is because of the government of this country. Then for what are we supposed to stand in that queue? And on that basis also, when you reach and it's your number, you have to pay extra money to get what is being given to you. That means you have to pay the double of money to get what is being acknowledged by the whole nation, where they are making the slogans. Okay, you're going to get this much money, that much money, we are going to do this with this scheme, that scheme. I don't understand this duality of like these politicians and this mindset of people. Nothing has changed for our fathers. Nothing has changed for us while we are so educated, while we are studying. Nothing has changed. Not the basic right of like clear air, water, pollution, everything. This is as basic as that it can get. Forget about employment, forget about empowerment, forget about all of that. These are the basic needs. Food quality is going through waste. Imagine, it is like it's only, I don't know if this is a dictatorship sort of a government or what, because this is not democracy. I'm sorry to say this, but this is in no sense democracy. Understand one thing, that if things have not changed for your father, it has not changed for you. It is probably not going to change for your child unless and until every fucking person on this planet just addresses it. At least address it. I'm not saying I'm going to go to Jantar Mantar and do a protest. I should have, I might have, but given the circumstances. But if my circumstances are not there, I cannot do it. But that doesn't make me reliable of the consequences that my child is going to face or everybody else's child is going to face. But at least we can talk about this issue. If it is something that has been said by someone, at least back that person up. If you have guts, if you really feel that person is doing right and he really is addressing something that has been acknowledged for the longest of time, please take that call and take a stand for this person. That's it. And everything else, how it is. It's all a PR game. Everybody's going to call him anti-nationalist. Everybody's going to tell slogans about it, that he's trying to make, he's okay if China overtakes Nepal and stuff like that, or Ladakh. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Right now, at this moment, the stand that he is taking is purely towards what a nationalist would do of this country, because it's a democratic land. I'm again stressing on this. It's not a dictatorship land, it is a democratic land. We all have a say on this, and it's as simple as that, and it's for our kids, at least this man. Thanks.